on the record.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Assessment Appeals Hearing Board for May 18th, 2015. The time is 9:30. And Brendan, could you please call roll?
Yes. Board Member Sisk.
Present.
Board Member Crow.
Present.
Board Member Curtis.
Present. Okay, we're going to say the Pledge of Allegiance. Could everybody please stand? Place your right hand over your heart and repeat after me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you. And if you could please remain standing to have you give your administration of an oath if you intend to give testimony today.
Everyone will be addressing the board this morning needs to do this under oath. Please raise your right arm. When I complete reading your oath, please state I do. You and each of you do solemnly affirm that the testimony you're about to give now in the matters now pending before this board will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Thank you. You may have a seat.
Thanks, Brendan. Looks like we're on agenda review. When you have a second, go over a quick agenda review.
Yes. Item number 5, agenda review. The clerk of the board recommends approval of the agenda review by the Assessment Appeals Board. The agenda review consists of the following agenda items. Item number 13, application number 13-12372, applicant MKRRP 450 American Street, LLC, removed from the agenda due to submission of a withdrawal. Item number 14, application number 13-12375, applicant Sinaida Aguilera, removed from the agenda due to submission of a withdrawal. Item number 15, application number 14-10006, applicant Ruthie Stockfish, continued to June 22nd, 2015, pending receipt of original stipulation. Item number 17, application number 14-10012, applicant George Lopez, continued to June 22nd, 2015, pending receipt of original stipulation. Item number 18, application number 14-10075, applicant Paul Vogel, continued to June 22nd, 2015, pending receipt of original stipulation. Item number 20, application number 14-10109, applicant Royal Elk Incorporated, removed from the agenda due to submission of a withdrawal. Item number 21, application number 14-10111, applicant Lloyd and Lauren Bryan, continued to June 22nd, 2015, pending receipt of original stipulation. Item number 22, application number 14-10116, applicant Steve Edelson, removed from the agenda due to submission of a withdrawal. Item number 23, application number 14-10164, applicant Paul Vogel and Beth Seidenberg, removed from agenda continued to June 22nd, 2015, pending receipt of original stipulation. Item number 24, application number 14-10245, applicant Lee Mi-yu, denied due to lack of appearance. Item number 25, application number 14-10255, applicant Daniel Salzberg, continued to June 22nd, 2015, pending receipt of original stipulation. Item numbers 27 through 28, application numbers 14-10339 and 14-10340, applicant Rancho Salona Apartments, LLC, removed from agenda due to submission of a withdrawal. Item number 29, application number 14-10341, applicant Redfern Family Trust, removed from the agenda due to submission of a withdrawal. Item number 30 and 31, application number 14-10423 and 14-10424, applicant Roy Turner, continued to June 22nd, 2015, pending receipt of original stipulation. Item number 39, application number 14-10829, applicant Danielle Fraisnet, continued to June 22nd, 2015, pending receipt of original stipulation. Item number 41, application number 14-11020, applicant Jan Schatz, denied due to lack of appearance. Item number 42, application number 14-11025, applicant Charity Daly, continued to June 22nd, 2015, pending receipt of original stipulation. Item number 43, application number 14-11026, applicant Robin Smith, denied due to lack of appearance. Item number 44, application number 14-11044, applicant Willard Scott, denied due to lack of appearance. Item number 46, application number 14-11052, applicant Irene Williams, denied due to lack of appearance. Item number 49, application number 14-11160, Holiday Retirement as tenant, denied due to lack of appearance. Item number 50, application number 14-11167, applicant Summit Hospitality 111 LLC, continued to June 22nd, 2015, pending receipt of original stipulation. Item number 51, application number 14-11168, applicant UST Patriot LP, removed from the agenda due to submission of a withdrawal. Item 52, application number 14-11169, applicant UST Patriot LP, continued to June 22nd, 2015, pending receipt of original stipulation. Item number 53, application number 14-11460, applicant Lori Mann, continued to June 22nd, 2015, pending receipt of original stipulation. Item numbers 57 and 58, application number 14-11496 and 14-11497, applicant Gary Sullivan, denied due to lack of appearance. Item number 59, application number 14-11965, applicant Manuel Altabano, denied due to lack of appearance. Item number 60, 14-11968, applicant, I'll spell it, first name Farid, last name Hentali, denied due to lack of appearance. That completes agenda review.
All right, thanks, Brendan. Did anybody in the audience hear their name being called out during the review? Okay. Any comments or questions from the assessor?
Kent Meyer, Ventura County Assessor's Office. I have no comments.
Okay. Any comments from the board?
None.
Okay. So it looks like we're looking for a motion to accept the agenda review as stated.
So moved. I second.
Okay, and that was moved by Mr. Crow and seconded by Mr. Sisk. That motion passes. So that moves us to item number 6 through 9. Application 11-14157 through 11-14159 and application 13-10476.
This is an administrative matter, findings of fact that need to be approved. They were emailed to the board members that heard the case last week, and I've received approval from Board Member Stern, who's not here today, as well as Board Member Sisk and Board Member Curtis, who are here today. So they have been approved by the parties that heard the case.
Okay. So looks like it was approved, so I'm looking for a motion to approve the findings of fact.
I so move. I approve. I second that motion.
Okay, so that was motion by Mr. Sisk and seconded by Mr. Crow. That motion passes. Next up is item number 10, application 13-12146, Technicolor Thompson. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm Michael Schaff, agent for Technicolor.
Good morning.
Morning.
Okay. And are you prepared to move ahead today?
No, as a result of emails exchanged between Mr. Greenberg at the assessor's office, he asked for more time to go over additional information we've been providing him. I assumed he communicated this. Is that correct? Apologize for my voice. I'm getting over a cold.
Sure.
Good to see you. So the purpose today was a mandatory appearance to ratify the delay that's necessary for him to
Sure.
finish his
So it looks like we're looking for a continuance?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And have you picked a good continuance date, or what would be convenient for both of you?
I would suggest either July 13th or August 3rd.
Okay. To the clerk?
Yeah, those are the only two dates we have available at this time.
It's July
And
13th and when?
July 13th and August 3rd, and the 2-year waiver, as required, is on file for this case, so we do not need an additional waiver.
Perhaps August 3rd might be work better for both sides.
Okay, so August 3rd
That's acceptable.
is acceptable to both? Okay. Any other further comment from the assessor?
No more comments.
Okay. Any questions from the board?
Nope.
All right, so looking for a motion to continue this item till August 3rd.
I so move. Second that motion.
Okay, and that was moved by Mr. Sisk and seconded by Mr. Crow. That motion passes. Thank you very much. We'll
Thank
see
you,
you
members
back
of
in
the board.
August 3rd. Okey doke. Next item is item 11, application 1312160, Wood Ranch Center LLC. Good morning.
Good morning. Albert Cohen, manager for Wood Ranch Center LLC.
Good morning.
We're not prepared this morning to go forward. I had a meeting last week, and I think, while I thought we made some progress, I don't know if the assessor indicated they wanted to look at some other materials and an evaluation they did for the CVS lease. So I need time to get a consultant because it looks like this issue is more complicated than I can handle myself.
Sure. So it looks like you're moving ahead, but not quite there. And to the assessor?
Yeah, we recommend a continuance to October 5th.
To October 5th.
I'm not allowed to have any hearings scheduled on October 5th, so we are only allowed to continue to July 13th, August 3rd, or November 2nd if necessary. But this case is not eligible for continuance at this time because there's no 2-year waiver on file. So as a condition to get this case continued, a waiver would have to be executed for the applicant to waive their 2-year timeline to hearing.
Anything in September?
No, we don't have any hearings scheduled between August 3rd and November 2nd.
August
You want to do
3rd?
August 3rd or you want to do November 2nd?
So are you willing to waive the 2-year time limit to have your case heard?
Yes.
Okay.
So when's the date in November?
November 2nd?
November 2nd. Is that acceptable to the applicant with the
That would be
2-year
acceptable.
sign waiver?
Yes.
Okay. And is that acceptable to the assessor?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So Brennan, could you give him a 2-year waiver now?
Yes, I'm going to work out that waiver right now. Sorry, just a moment.
And could we request that he provide any value analysis within 30 days of the hearing?
Okay, and is that acceptable to the applicant? With the-
Value analysis for which one, the CVS parcel or for the remainder of
For
it?
whatever's at issue here.
Okay.
So they're looking for a value analysis within 30 days.
30 days
Nov-
prior to the hearing.
Right, before November 2nd.
Yes.
Okay. Of whatever you are at issue with. All right, so it looks like we're looking for a motion to continue this case till, this item till November 2nd.
I so move. I'll second that motion.
Okay, and that was,
Sorry, as part of that motion with the proviso that all data be provided 30 days prior? Or does the board not want to do
Just
that?
evaluation, I believe. An evaluation analysis by us to be provided 30 days. before.
Evidence that supports a value conclusion by you.
sure, so let me clarify it. The motion is to continue to November 2nd with the proviso that that a value analysis will be provided within 30 days of November 2nd.
That would be fine.
Okay. And that's still seconded?
Yep.
And still moved. And so that was moved by Mr. Sisk and seconded by Mr. Crow. That motion passes.
So if you could, you had to complete this before you leave today and turn it over to me.
And let the record show that applicant signing a 2-year waiver.
So you can either do 12 months or indefinitely, so you select one of these 2 options and then sign, put your name, and just hand it to me when you're done.
Thank you very much. We'll see you in November. Next item is item 12, application 1312368, MKRRP 400 National Way LLC.
These are large value stipulations that the board was provided with by email, and the assessor can give an overview of them if you'd like.
Sure.
Is there a hard copy at
Oh,
the...
yes, there's also a hard copy in the board's materials if they'd like.
Okay. Any comment from the assessor?
Nothing really other than what's in the memo. It was a large value stipulation on a property that sold in 2013. And based on evidence that the applicant provided, we determined that we overassessed the property.
Okay. This is for the Oaks Mall?
No, this is for the Bank of America corporate headquarters in Simi Valley.
Oh. Okay. And we reviewed, any comment? Have we reviewed them via email?
I did, yes. I reviewed the assessor's findings and motion to approve the large value stipulation.
Okay. That was motioned by Mr. Crow
I second.
and seconded by Mr. Sisk. So that motion passes for that approval. Okay. Next on the agenda is item number 16, application 14-10007, Ventura Coastal LLC. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm Kevin McAtee on behalf of Ventura Coastal.
Good morning. Welcome.
This is Chris Horn.
And are you prepared to move ahead today?
No, we would like to ask for a continuance.
Okay. And when would be a good continuance date?
August 3rd would be fine for me.
August
3rd is fantastic.
Okay. Very good. Anything else?
We'd like to request all data that we're requesting be provided no less than 30 days prior to August 3rd.
Not a problem.
So the same to you, proviso that data will be provided within 30 days of August?
Agreed.
August 3rd. Okay. Given that, looking for a motion to continue to August 3rd with the proviso that data will be provided within 30 days.
I so move. I'll second that motion.
Okay, and that was moved by Mr. Sisk and seconded by Mr. Crow. That motion passes.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
See you back in August.
Next Tuesday.
Next up is item number 19, application 14-10107, Ronald Goodson.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Would
Are
it
you-
be sirs or honors or?
Whatever you like to call us. Are you prepared to move ahead today?
Yeah, I'm supposed to bring you copies.
Yeah. So we'll just hang on to those for right now. But how long do you think your case may take?
I don't know, 3 to 5 minutes, I guess.
Okay. And to the assessor?
Yes, we're prepared to move forward on this case. We estimate 10 to 15 minutes for our case.
Okay. So what I'm going to do is you're going to be the first one called up. I'm going to run through the rest of the agenda, and when I get done, then you can come back up and give your case. So just be patient. Hang out real quick. All right, so that will be the first case heard. Next on the agenda is item number 26. It's application 14-10322, Ibn and Hakimi Dental, Inc.
A copy of a preliminary stipulation has been submitted this morning, so the board needs to continue this item to June 22nd, 2015, pending receipt of the original stipulation.
Okay. Any comment from the assessor?
No comments from the assessor.
Okay. Looks like we're looking for a motion to continue to June 22nd, pending stipulation.
So moved. I second.
And that was moved by Mr. Crow and seconded by Mr. Sisk. That motion passes. Next on the agenda is items 32 through 35. MACERICH Oaks LLC. Applications 14-10444, 104-10446, 10449, and 10450.
This is a request for approval of the large value stipulations. They were submitted to the board by email and are in your packets this morning. And then, of course, the assessor's office has further overview if the board needs.
So this one looks like the Oaks one. Any comment from the assessor?
No comments from the assessor.
Okay. And did the board members review the large value stipulation?
I did, yes.
Any comments or questions? All right. So looking for a motion to approve the large value stipulation as proposed.
I so move. I'll second that motion.
Okay, and that was moved by Mr. Sisk and seconded by Mr. Crow. That motion passes. Next up is item number 38. Application 1410454, Suzanne, S-O-U-L-E.
36.
36.
36. Sorry.
That's great.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Are you prepared to move ahead today?
No, I would like to request a continuance, please.
Okay. Any comment from the assessor?
No comments from the assessor. We're willing to continue this to August 3rd.
Do you have anything before that? The date before that?
We have July 13th available. It'd be up to the assessor if they'd be able to prepare.
We'd be willing to do July 13th.
Perfect.
Was that July 13th okay?
Yes.
Okay. July 13th, and that's acceptable to the applicant?
Yes.
Okay. Any provisos to the assessor?
Just her comparables to substantiate the value that she's requesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So we're looking for a motion to continue this item till July 13th.
I so move. Second that motion.
And that was moved by Mr. Sisk and seconded by Mr. Crow. So we'll see you back on July 13th.
Okay, thank you.
So I would, just communicate with the assessor between now and July 13th. Maybe you'll come up with some kind of agreement so you don't have to come back.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Moves us to item number 37. It's application 1410477, Dream Artisan Productions, Inc. Good morning.
Good morning.
Can you state your name for the record, please?
I'm Karen George.
Good morning. Welcome.
Thank you.
And are you prepared to move ahead today?
No, we are not. We've been in communication with the assessor's office, and
Okay.
I need time for my retained counsel to review the appraisals, and
Okay.
also he's out of town today, so I'd like to move for a continuance, please.
Okay. And when would be an acceptable continuation date?
July would be good for us. If
In
we could
July?
do that date.
So it looks like the only date we have available in July is July 13th.
That's fine.
Okay. And to the assessor?
Just that the applicant still needs to provide a little bit more information for us, and we'll need to review everything. No less than 30 days prior to the hearing.
Okay. So you'll be able to do that for the assessor within 30 days?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. And like I told the last applicant, maybe if you could just talk with the assessor and communicate as best you can between now and July 13th. So looking for a motion to continue this item to July 13th with the proviso that the data will be supplied by the applicant to the assessor within 30 days.
I so move. I'll second that motion.
So that was moved by Mr. Sisk and seconded by Mr. Crow. So we'll see you back on July 13th, unless you've
Work it out.
come to an agreement with the assessor.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Next on the agenda is item number 38, application 1410775. Samuel, last name is S-A-D-O-V-E. Good morning.
Good morning. Sadub, Sam Sadub.
Oh, okay, great. And are you prepared to move ahead today?
No, with the assessors, and I've been communicating with them. They have some other stuff they'd like to go through. I've given them, we'd like to continue it. I think they said July or August, whatever.
Due to the complexity of this specific property, I think we'd rather have August 3rd or November 2nd.
It's up to the assessor.
August 3rd.
Okay, so August 3rd is acceptable?
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're looking for a motion to continue this item to August 3rd.
I so move.
Is there any provisional that the assessor needs?
He's provided us with most of the data, but it just came in a little bit late. We may be requesting additional data, but at this point in time, he is cooperating.
As soon as they need anything, I'll get
Yeah.
it to you.
So again, it's it's best to just communicate between now and August 3rd with the assessor. They may come up with an agreement for you.
Great. Thank you.
So looking for a motion. That was motion by Mr. Sisk,
I'll second that motion.
seconded by Mr. Crow. That motion passes. Thank you. Next up is item number 40, application 1411018, James Keefe. Good morning.
Good morning, James Keefe. Thank you. I would like to request a continuance on the matter.
Okay. When would be a good continuance date?
August 3rd would work for me.
August 3rd? Okay. And to the assessor, would August 3rd be acceptable?
August 3rd would be fine. Mr. Keefe, you need to talk to Rick Denham. I don't know if you've spoken to him before or not.
I have not, and I look forward to that.
Okay. Let me give you his business card.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay. So looking for a motion to continue this item till August 3rd.
I so move.
Second that motion.
All right. Motion by Mr. Sisk, seconded by Mr. Crow. That motion passes. Thank you. Moves us to item number 45. It's application 1411046. Applicant is Paul Andre. Good morning.
Morning, board members.
Are you prepared to move ahead today?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Now, how long do you think your presentation may take?
5-10 minutes.
Okay. And to the assessor?
We're prepared to move forward on this case. We estimate 10 to 15 minutes for the case.
Oh. Okay. You'll be the second one called, so I'll just finish the review and then we'll have you back here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 47, application 1411074. Jens, last name is Reupsch. Good morning.
Morning.
Can you state your name for the record, please?
Jens Reupsch.
Good morning. Are you prepared to move ahead today?
Yes.
You are. Okay, and to the assessor?
We are not prepared to move ahead. We had sent a stipulation to the applicant and no response and no communications after that. So we're not prepared to move ahead today.
Okay.
I got an email from Rick that the stipulation, he's got it signed and sealed. But this is not about just the stipulation, this is about the base value.
Okay, we are not prepared to move forward today, so we'd like a continuation.
Oh, okay. And to the assessor, what would be a good continuation date?
August 3rd.
August 3rd. To the applicant, it looks like the assessor is not prepared to move ahead. Are you prepared to move ahead?
Yeah, it's okay.
On August 3rd?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so we're looking for a motion to continue this item till August 3rd.
I so move.
Second that motion.
Okay, and it was moved by Mr. Sisk and seconded by Mr. Crow. So, and in the interim, I would talk and communicate, with Rick as much as you can.
No problem.
Okay,
Thank you.
very good. Item number 48, application 1411107, MKRRP 400 National Way LLC.
Yeah, I apologize. I meant to group this with the with item 12. It's the same applicant, a large value stipulation, and so the board has already approved half of it. I was supposed to tell you to consider them both together, but I messed up. So this is the large value stipulation that has been submitted to the board, and yeah, that's it.
Okay, it appears that the board has reviewed it. So any questions from the board?
I have none.
Okay, so we're looking for motion to approve this request for approval of a large value stipulation.
I so move.
Second that motion.
Okay, that was moved by Mr. Sisk and seconded by Mr. Crow. That motion passes. Moving swiftly to items 54 through 56, applications 1411483 through 11485. Applicant is TEJAS, last name is Patel.
Good morning, Board.
Good morning. Can you state your name for the record, please?
My name is Tejas Patel.
Good morning. Are you prepared to move ahead today?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Lovely. And to the assessor?
The assessor's office is not prepared on this case.
Okay.
So we'd like to continue this to August 3rd.
Okay, so the assessor is not prepared to move ahead. Would
I
August...
object moving ahead because no such indications were made from the assessor's office. And the assessors has been well advised since more than the issue has been arose that I will be prepared for the hearing. And the upcoming dates are not falling into my calendar with my family needs and my business needs, so I won't be able to stipulate for the hearing coming up front. And with the fact that the assessor's office has managed to demonstrate an inability across the board from losing the paperwork for doing a conference with hearing to the fact that I had to also request a meeting with Mr. Dan Goodwin, and that we have not been able to reach agreement, and that's been widely known. The assessor has enough time to stipulate the whole process and get ready for it, and henceforth I am here. I'm ready to move forward. I would like the board to consider to move this issue forward on the fact that assessor's office has shown a prejudice and has been very, very weak to consult with me on this whole matter.
Mr. Chairman, may I ask the clerk a question?
Sure.
Was there a postcard returned for the hearing?
Yes. This applicant was given notice of hearing on March 4th, 2015, and on April 10th, 2015, they confirmed they would be at appearance today's hearing.
All right, so your objection is so noted. Any comments from council or from the board?
So if I understand correctly, the applicant indicated he would be appearing today?
Yes, he did meet the required 30-day deadline to say he'd be present today. So, yeah, all the requirements have been met.
Would this be the assessor's first request for a continuance?
Right. No prior continuances have been requested on this case. The board is only required to grant a continuance if the applicant presents data that wasn't previously provided to the assessor. So it's up to the board if they want to continue this or go forward with this morning.
Did the applicant submit all the required information to the assessor within the 30-day requirement?
Yes, I have.
Any comment from the assessor?
The assessor would just like to state that we have not prepared a case and we would like this continuance.
Okay. Counsel?
Perhaps the assessor's office can explain if the applicant RSVP'd for the hearing why the assessor's office did not prepare a case?
It was basically just an oversight on the assessor's part due to workload. The appraiser that was working it, as you can see, we've had a lot of stipulations, withdrawals, and a lot of people just didn't show up. Those were primarily Rick Denham's workload. Okay. And this just is one that he didn't get to.
Okay. It's the board's discretion, what the board chooses to do based on the information provided by both the applicant and the assessor.
What would be a good date if we did grant a continuation?
I'm expecting a baby in July 31st, and I'm a delivery guy, so for me it's very, very difficult to move on because with the business needs that Christmas season and Thanksgiving and all that comes along, November would not be a good for me, and so the July and August would be absolutely out of question for me. And I resist the whole fact that assessor office was not prepared for this matter after having such an effort put up by me to not waste board's time today. I have also insisted and met with Dan Goodwin the process of handling at the office, the way they lost my paperwork, that they have been responding. Nobody follows up at the assessor's office. And I wanted to bring this up to you guys as well, that this is not the way we can just continue on servicing the needs of county members. And this is a very factual example, the way the case has been handled. And with that being said, I also was spoken by Rick one time over the phone, and I replied accordingly. So if I have done everything in the manner that I'm supposed to do, and that this fact has been appealed since last year, June, we're almost in like 11 months, and the assessor office says they have not prepared it. I'm to the point, fact is, we are wasting taxpayer dollars. I would really like the board to understand and also uphold my time, my value, and move this against the assessor's office, and please hear me today. That would be my request.
Okie doke. I sense your frustration, but bottom line is the assessor has not prepared a case for whatever reason. He's stated that they've just blown it, and both the applicant and the county assessor do have one continuation date afforded for both of you. Just as if the assessor was prepared and you weren't, it would be the same thing. So we're looking for a date that would be convenient for you to come back so we can hear your case.
Chairman Curtis, perhaps June 22nd, if that is before Mr. Patel's wife is expecting her baby.
Well, I'll tell you this. My wife has a brain tumor, and I do not know how the pregnancy will be going through. It is very difficult. I cannot promise you something for next 4 to 5 months, how my situation will be.
Sure. Well, how about October 5th?
Again, October 5th, I had to look up, see how my situation prevails at that point.
Well, you can also ask for continuance at that point, too.
But I believe our 2-year waiver time would be also there. I'm not willing to give a waiver because this is a base value of 2012 for the sale at the time. So there should be a time limit issue as well there.
Sure, I understand. And the reason for not signing the 2-year waiver?
I would like this thing to be get over and done with.
Mr. Curtis, it's my suggestion that if the applicant and the assessor are willing to set it for June 22nd, if due to a medical condition of the applicant's wife, there's emergency or some situation, he would definitely have good cause under the board's rules then to request a continuance from June 22nd, but to try and see if it can be done on June 22nd, subject to his wife's health condition.
I would further also recommend the board that the data that I am prepared to demonstrate today has already been approved by the board previously for the same year, around the same value, for an exact neighbor next to me.
We're getting into the details of the case. We're either here to...
So the reason I was bringing that up was because it's been pre-decided and the assessor office has already gotten a chance to do that for that case. Under that pretense, if we can just hear this case out, will be take 5-10 minutes, and it's already been rehearsed before. If we can get through with this, I don't think assessor would need anything more than what they already have previously prepared for that same property next door to me.
Sure, the assessor has asked for continuance, and we're here to set a continuance date. So.
Yeah, for me, it would be very difficult, and any date that we post upon for this time frame would be very not mutually acceptable unless the board would like to force it onto me. Then I'll pretty much at that point will oblige as accordingly if the condition would persist. But again, at the same time, board, I would really humbly would like to point the inability of the assessor's office and also consider the harassment that is going on their fact towards me as well. So with that said, I have no further to say on this matter.
Okay, we're not trying to force anything on anybody, but to the council, any comment?
The board has its discretion whether or not it wishes to reset this for June 22nd or another date. I would note that if there isn't health situation involving the applicant's wife where he's unable to appear, that would fall within the good cause request for continuance then at that point from the applicant.
Okay, any comments from the board?
Motion to continue this case until the June 23rd, is that the day?
22nd.
22nd.
I second, if that's okay.
Okay, so it looks like we have a motion to continue this to June 22nd, understanding your frustrations and your comments with respect to the assessor, and we'll take that into consideration on June 22nd. On June 22nd, if you need to continue on that date, contact the clerk within, 30 days?
I get calls up until the day before the hearing, so as long as I get a call, and I would have to have documentation provided showing that there's a medical emergency, and then the case can be rescheduled without appearance of the applicant if proper documentation of a medical issue is submitted to the clerk anytime prior to the hearing.
We're not in the business of forcing dates on the applicants, but we want to hear your case and work it out. And
see, if I would be standing in the Hall of Justice over there, and if the both parties were present and the party is not prepared, it would have been ruled and over with. What I'm getting to is, I'm not trying the Board of Supervisors to persuade this matter one way or another, but the assessor's office has demonstrated an inability to the fact today, which is self-evident, that they are, for some reason, been very hostile to my case. And it was very embarrassing after they already admitted that the mistakes has been made, just to correct it. And I'm here, standing here, wasting my time today, and here I hear, okay, come back again. I'm very heartfelt to the fact that this is the way assessor's office is operating.
Okay, so noted. We'll consider that on June 22nd. And so the motion was to continue your case till June 22nd. Was motioned by Mr. Crow and seconded by Mr. Sisk. We'll see you back on June 22nd.
Sure, no problem. Thank you.
Thank you. So that moves us to our final item, which is item number 61, application 1412152, Thomas Duke. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Thomas Duke.
Good morning. Are you prepared to move ahead today?
Yes, I am.
Okay. To the assessor, are you prepared to move ahead?
We're not prepared to move forward. Sorry. We're not prepared to move forward on this one either. We had a verbal indication that he was not going to show up today.
No, that's not true at all. No.
Mr. Denham? Mr. Denham?
I've only talked to the assessor's office like twice.
A second.
And
Mr. Denham.
I'm sorry.
Okay. We have Mr. Duke here.
Yeah, you know what? Honestly, I can't recall. I apologize.
No, that's not the case.
Okay. So we're not prepared to move forward on this one either.
Okay. So it seems a little similar to the last case. To the applicant, you are prepared to move ahead?
Yes, I am.
Okay. To any comment from council?
Perhaps we should have an explanation from the assessor's office as to the circumstances if the applicant had provided notice of the hearing, why the assessor's office is not prepared to move forward. But first, I guess we need to find out from the clerk if the applicant timely informed the clerk of showing up.
Yeah, let's see. The hearing notice should be the same. The notice of hearing was given on March 4th, 2015. And where did their confirmation go? There we go. They confirmed appearance just a few days later on March 16th, 2015. So well over the 30-day timeline to confirm appearance.
Okay. So it seems a little similar to the last case. Any comments from the assessor?
We were under the impression that he wasn't going to appear today after a phone conversation. It must have been a miscommunication on our part.
After a phone conversation with Mr. Denham?
Between Mr. Denham and Mr. Duke.
Okay. Any comments from Mr. Denham?
Good morning.
Rick Denham with Ventura County Assessor's Office. I just, what Mr. Meyer said was true. I was under a bad impression, and I apologize.
Okay.
Apparently I got it wrong.
To the applicant?
My only comment is when I talked to him was before I sent in that application that I was going to appear. I talked to him earlier, before I sent that in. And
Okay.
that's when I sent it in because I wasn't getting the information I needed.
Okay. Okay. Well, it seems like we're kind of in the same situation, but the assessor is not prepared to move ahead. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Any comments, additional comments from the board or council? None?
Perhaps
Okay.
you can inquire as to potential rescheduling dates.
All right, so it looks like we're kind of in the same situation. Both the applicant and the assessor are afforded one continuation date for
Sooner the better.
for whatever reason or for no reason. So sooner the better. To the applicant, what would be an acceptable date?
Any date, sooner the better.
Okay, the soonest date is
July 13th or August 3rd, depending on what the assessor's workload can meet.
I think my case is pretty simple.
Sure. To the assessor?
Fine, sooner the better.
July 13th?
Absolutely fine.
Okay. Do we need any data from the applicant or anything?
We're going to talk out here, so we'll...
Good.
Yeah.
And that would be the best thing, is just to be in a line of communication with the assessor and/or with Mr. Denham, so maybe you'll avoid coming back on July 13th.
Yes. Well, I tried that, but it didn't seem to be moving forward at all.
Okay. Well, if that's the case, then we'll see you back on July 13th in front of the board. Pardon me?
Will I get a notice?
Yes, the clerk will, this is considered your official notice, but I'll send a confirming written notice of the board's decision today, which confirms your schedule for July 13th.
Okay, so we're looking for motion to continue this item till July 13th.
I so move.
Second that motion.
Moved by Mr. Sisk and seconded by Mr. Crow. That motion passes. So, first item on the agenda is item number
19.
19.
Mr. Curtis, the assessor would like to request a 15-minute recess while we get preparations.
15-minute recess? Okay, to the applicant, the assessor is asking for a 15-minute recess, so we will come back in 15 minutes. So we'll... you can just hang on to him for right now. But we'll be looking at him shortly, so we'll be back on the record at 10:35.
All right, we're back on the record.
Okay, we're back on the record. It's 10:35-ish. We're hearing application item 19, application 14-10107. Applicant's name is Ronald Goodson. To the assessor, could you give us a brief overview of this case?
Thank you. Rick Denham, Ventura County Assessor's Office. The subject property is currently assessed at its factored base year value of $944,514,000. That is also the roll value and the recommended value. At the time of the application, the applicant believes his property is worth $672,740. This is a decline in value. It's a single-family residence located in Camarillo, California, and I believe Mr. Goodson absolutely owner-occupies it, so it's the burden of proof is on the County of Ventura.
Thank you. And to the applicant, just wanted to ask first, you have checked that you were requesting written findings of fact. Were you still requesting written findings of fact?
Well, it looks like any furtherance of this issue would require the hiring of an attorney to go to Superior Court or something like that, and I don't believe I'm in a position to pay for lawyers.
Okay.
So I'm going to not do that.
Okay. So let the record just show that you're not requesting written findings of fact.
Yeah, we discussed that with your assistant.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Very nice. And so the burden of proof is with the assessor?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what will happen is the assessor will present his case, you'll have time to ask the assessor with respect to his case. When we're all done, you'll present your case, the assessor will, and the board will ask questions, and then we'll close the, we'll have final comments from both sides, and then we'll close the case. All right, so whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Goodson, if you would go to this page right here, I'll just show you physically. It's the comp page. The subject property and all of the comps are from the exact same neighborhood. It's a large custom neighborhood geographically located roughly above we call it Las Posas Upland. So they're all north of Las Posas in the city of Camarillo. And they're all pretty much custom homes and classified as such. The subject property is on an acre, which even in that part of it's in the Mission Oaks section of Camarillo. So an acre is still one of the larger lots and somewhat unusual. Not to be confused with the Santa Rosa Valley. I know some people do. I'll show you that on the map. All three of my, like I said, all four of my comparable sales are from the subject area. Obviously, matching up square footage was very difficult. Comp number 3 probably matches up best in square footage rise, but all the others are slightly smaller. The subject property is one of the larger homes in the subject area. 2 of my comps were on an acre. I adjusted pretty modestly for the others, but they were on at least a half acre, so they were, or almost a half acre, so they were substantially large property, larger than average city lots. And the sales prices range from a low of $845,000 to a high of $1,210,000, but they usually reflect the smaller square footage or some other attribute. And the concluding prices, adjusted prices, were all from a low of $957,000 to a high of $1,083,000. My final conclusion was $960,000, which is at the lower part of that range. And like I said, all 4 comps are from the subject area. When you look at the map, to show you the map end of it, you see we're north of Upland, and it is a pretty vast area. It runs just a little further to the west. We're sort of at the west end of it, and then it runs pretty much east until we hit the border of the Santa Rosa Valley. And then a little bit southward, although no comps were chosen, Santa Onofre and Cervato below typically sell in sort of similar price ranges and have similar larger custom homes. The other close by, some of the close by areas like directly south, they're smaller tract homes, and that's why you wouldn't be getting your data there. But anyway, that's my presentation. There were 4 comparables. They're all as similar as we're going to get. We're not going to, this is not an area that lends itself to model matches, so we do have to go with the comparables out there. Thank you.
Thank you. To the applicant, do you have any questions regarding, to the assessor regarding his presentation?
I would have a question. Was these properties, the comps and mine, inspected in person to evaluate the similarity of accoutrement and the nature of what is a quality dwelling versus have you inspected them to the nature of knowing that they're all apples versus an apple and a pile of oranges, or vice versa?
In the assessor or appraiser business generally, we are not allowed into the comparables. It's unusual if we would see one from the inside, especially in most of our work is somewhat historical. So that would be an unusual occurrence. We do have quality class, condition information, et cetera, from from sometimes the buyers of the properties, and also from our own internal look. We virtually look at now, probably, I don't want to give the date, but I'm guessing somewhere in the 90s, we see almost every house that's built and examine it, and also judge it as to quality and things like that. So that's the apples. If that's the apples you're talking about, these, they're from your neighborhood, they match up, and that's what I would tell you.
At this time, is it possible to stipulate that a member of your office staff was able to evaluate my property in person last year for the purposes of last year's dispute conflict over the value of my property? And
correct, she did. That was Susan Liberto. When she settled your case last year, she classified your property as similar. She also classified it as average condition and settled your case last year. I used her information because, quite frankly, she saw it, I believe, in July of 14, which was oddly enough closer to my lien date, and I used her same information to complete my report.
Thank you.
Okay. Did you have any more questions to the assessor?
Not at this moment. I want to express my own thoughts on the subject and the process, and I brought you some papers to help persuade my point.
Sure. Just hang on one second. We'll take it in order. So, are there any questions from the board to the assessor?
In your appraisal, basically, you're recognizing the difference in quality class by some of your adjustments. Isn't that correct, Mr. Denham?
Yes, there's, if you notice, it's not tremendous. He's a 7, and some of the, I think, the way quality class works across the board in Ventura County is if you're within a half a point, we do not make an adjustment. When it's a full point, there is an adjustment. And so one of the comps, he's a 7, one of the comps is an 8, and also one of the comps is an 8.5. And so we made adjustments based on similarities. In a custom area, this is pretty common. You're not going to have everybody line up nicely. In fact, it's usually a wider spread than this.
Board Member Sisk, any questions?
Can we look at the location map really quick? See comp number 1, or the red box labeled number 1?
Yes.
It's on, looks like Caidia Street?
Correct.
So back at our grid, comp number 1's on Terabella?
Oh.
Okay, if you want to look at comp 2, it looks like it's down on Quito Street on the map. Comp
Yeah.
number 2 on the grid is Caidia.
Yeah, I apologize.
Comp 3 could also be in the wrong spot, and it looks like comp 4 is in the wrong spot.
Does to me too.
All 4 comps got misplaced and misnumbered?
Yep, that can happen.
Are
Yes.
these quality class adjustments, are they available to the public or your average fee appraiser so they could duplicate this or use this for their report also?
You know, when I was I'll comment 2 ways. Technically, all our information is available to the public. When I was a private appraiser, I didn't have this level of information readily available in a simple form. It's available, but to answer your question, it's certainly not in a simple form.
Okay.
And it was one of the, when I transitioned, bad word nowadays, when I went from a private appraiser into being an assessor, that is one of the unique information points that the assessor's office had, and I don't quite know why the data services don't reproduce that, because it is, like I said, readily available. It's not very handy.
Right, okay.
And some few, I would admit, private appraisers are aware of it and sometimes utilize it. But mostly it's unfortunate that it's not more better organized in the public specter. I'm kind of surprised because most of those data services, the DataQuicks and all that, copy us pretty thoroughly. And I don't know why they don't catch that, because it's available to them.
Okay. It is available to the applicant?
It's available
Easily?
to the applicant,
Okay.
absolutely.
I don't have any further questions at the moment.
All right, real quick, regarding the lot size, so the subject is about an acre. Do you feel it's fully usable at an acre, or sloping, or?
It's nicely terraced. It's mainly in 3 parts. So when you drive out there and really look at it, it's sort of 1, 2, 3. All these are on, I call them minor hillsides, so everybody's got some slope going on. Wasn't bad. I thought it would be worse when I got there, and it's not only nicely terraced, but he's got driveway and patio kind of space on each terrace.
So you're saying, with respect to the utilization of the lot, comps 1 and 3 have a similar flatness or terracing or utilization?
They have some issues in the back of their lots and, down slopes and things like that. So, yeah, it's pretty similar.
Sure, okay. So no lot adjustments would be needed?
No. It's hard to get an acre in that area, so that's unusual. It's more of a, yeah, I'm sorry.
Sure. So going back to the applicant's question about the previous inspection by Ms. Lamberto, so you didn't change anything, you just took that information and pretty much plowed it into...
Well, here's what happened. She viewed the property, I believe, in June of 2014 for the 013 case. I looked at her settlement documents and her prior appraisal. She classified the property as average condition and made no comments about quality class or anything like that. And so I noted that and went on from there.
And so what was there was a stipulated value at that time?
I believe there was in 2013.
Do you know what that value was?
I don't know exactly, no. I think it's in the 600 range.
Okay.
Something like that.
So we're in the 600 range, and now you're saying it's up in the 900 range?
That's right.
We're looking at a year apart, January of 2013 to January 2014. The markets were pretty volatile, still moving up and down.
So I'm kind of guessing that's going to be the crux of this.
50%. That's an increase of 50%.
This issue.
Was the original sale distressed or below market?
No, he originally bought it in the 9s.
Okay.
Back in the day.
887.
He purchased it at the peak back in
New.
near the peak of 2007.
Yeah. And he bought, high 8s. Exactly.
So do you think maybe that 2013 stipulated value was too low?
I looked at it. I didn't admire it very much, to be quite frank.
Okay.
And it really has no relevance as to January 2014, nor does it have any relevance to the comps that we're presenting now.
No, but what you're saying is the market went up 50% in 12 months.
No, we're not.
Well, from 600
we're
to
saying
900.
what the market value is as of January 2014.
Okay.
Okay. Any further questions?
If everyone's done, the clerk, because the assessor has said that the comp map is incorrect. Their exhibit was entered into the public record, but it has to be true and correct because they are under oath. So if we could get a correction as to what the correct comp numbers are, so that we can correct the public record.
Yeah, I'll bring you a corrected copy.
Would you be able to just say the correct numbers? Otherwise, we have to admit the correction into evidence now.
Okay.
So.
Yeah. Let me get these numbers down.
We could wait to get the correct map. I just can't let false evidence go into the record uncorrected.
I understand. Comp number 1 should be comp number, I think it's comp 4 and 1 somehow got swapped out, or no. What looks like comp 4 should be comp 1. Comp number 1 is comp number 2. Comp number 3 looks like it is correct. And comp number 4 is comp number 2 on that incorrect map.
Okay, so the 2 on the map should be a 4?
Yes.
We're going to go print up a corrected map right now.
Okay.
Great, thank you so much. Anything else, Brendan?
No, I mean, as long as we get it properly admitted into evidence, we can, come back to taking that. So if we want to move into the applicant's evidence, why that correction is being prepared, so we don't. Yeah, that's fine. As long as that gets corrected, I'm good.
Sure, thank you. Okay, to the applicant now, it's your turn to present your case.
Thank you, sirs.
So let the record show that the giving exhibit number 1 from the applicant. So you can go ahead whenever you're ready.
Okay. I think that the primary crux of my argument is, as you were pointing out, the quality. I guess you're calling it. I'm a grade 7, which is called average. I would like to. I think that the phrase that comes to my mind is guilt by association. The home is not to the standard of the land. The properties surrounding me are magnificent, and I had every wish and expectation of achieving that myself. I had just passed plan check 3 days before Lehman Brothers, and then I got gutted. So I was going to fix the house. It was called a fixer when I bought it, and unfortunately it's remained as such while I've habitated it, waiting for my ship to come back to shore. The properties, all of these properties, many of these properties anywhere on that side of the town are quality, pride of ownership. Even when you comment average quality, that's not what's the average to the neighborhood. But as you see, even on your own comps and on the comps that I submitted in my document, they're all really gorgeous, amazing, beautiful homes. And the concept of an acre is a it's a thing in valuation. But I'm on a hill. The primary value, the primary space that's usable is 2 stories below the housing. My house is at the higher end of the hill. And as he commented, it's sloped in a funny way. There's 5 different driveways, so that there's 5 different entrances to the property, which manifest in itself that it's not like I have an acre. I have a bunch of small pieces of land that combine themselves with slope to equal an acre. Now we're on a driveway that's a private driveway. All of the comps and as far as I understand, almost every street anywhere around, for perhaps miles in any direction, are city streets with large, wide streets. We're 10 feet wide. So, like, if I try to drive my motorhome in, all of the space required to maneuver has to be provided by me on my land, but it's not usable for anything other than maneuvering a motorhome, because you can't back, a lot of these other homes that you show that are half acre, even a quarter acre, when they're flat, you just pull up on the street and you back in, and your motorhome's taking up, 10 feet wide by 40 feet long, whereas I require many, many multiples of that, because I have to drive onto my property and turn around and such, and it negates the ability to use the land for other purposes, because the street is 10 feet wide. Now, furthermore, the neighbor's trees have been tearing up the street, and the street has had to be repaved from scratch, and will again soon, because the silly neighbor doesn't let the trees get torn down. Most of the neighbors agreed to let the trees get torn down by the Edison company, but the one guy doesn't. So the street gets torn up over and over by tree roots, and we have to pay for ourselves when we can't stand the rubble trying to, almost needed a four-wheel drive to go up the driveway until the last paving. So I've put comps out there. The one that I was shocked and like, jeepers, if I could have only waited a bunch of years to buy a new house. the one in your comp that this guy has a half acre across the street from a gorgeous park surrounded by gorgeous other properties, and his valuation is $876,500. That's not his valuation, that's what he paid for it. Zillow calls him $1.177 million, and he has this humongous backyard that's flat and ready to use across, and this beautiful house. I guess his house is called here. It's a lot of, it's 3,628 square feet. So the appraisal process is an art form based on knowing things, and if you're going to know things, you have to put the time into knowing them. And as Mr. Denham describes, using databases doesn't get you to know as many things when you have a unique property. My property is a fixer. It was intended to be repaired and fixed and made glorious to its to the nature of its land. So that never did occur and never has occurred. These other properties have neighbors that have beautiful properties that the values of the homes superimpose themselves or support each other together because everybody takes care of their property. But I'm in this little bitty area, and I wouldn't know if there's 5 or 6 comps within 5 miles. I know there's some over by the donut store behind, if you drive up into the hills where there's funny kind of flag lots where people haven't maintained the properties. This house was built in 1980 by John White, who's he'll forever rot in hell as a crappy builder. So the house is disjointed. It's discombobulated. As I said, I had intended to fix that when I acquired it, but then it never got fixed. It never got repaired. It never got brought up to the standard of the land, and it's remained as such, habitable, but not anywhere in the nature of the land, and not anywhere in the nature of the comps. I don't know what else to say. If you have questions, I'd be happy to answer them. I also, as your comments, Mrs. Liberto observed the property, and that was, I had the misfortune of processing through a divorce several years back, and the divorce required an appraisal of an impartial. The appraisal process is again art, but usually the appraiser has a purpose in mind to choose high value or low value for whatever reason they're using. But when you get divorced, the appraiser has a fiduciary responsibility to choose a precise value that honors all of the tenets of valuation, and their work is supervised by 2 attorneys, each one certain that they need to have a value that's durable, and that appraisal was used in submitting documents to the 2013 valuation, and the appraisal for the divorce came in at $600,000. He had to use comps back up behind the donut store. I don't know if you know Camarillo, but there's a place called the Rolling Pin, and behind there are where you have some properties that have been in the same hands for decades, and haven't been upgraded to the standard of new construction. And mine resides in that same category of waiting for its makeover. So the property had a low value. Nothing's been done to change other than the change in value of the market. When I came and gave you some of my suggestions, one of the things that is not in dispute is that it's a multi-bedroom house, and some data is available from my research, which says from 2013 to 2014, the value of homes 5 bedrooms and up increased by my calculation approximately 11%. The average 5-bedroom home in 2013 was selling for the average 5-bedroom was about $270 a square foot, and over the year to 2014, the average 5-bedroom went to about $300 a square foot. So I did some math and I calculated that was an 11% increase. And using what was your agency's considered opinion of the property of $650 and inflating that by 11%, I believe I came out to $721,000. My other method of trying to value the property was to recognize the falsities of certain of the Zillow characteristics, where they use presumptive quality standards to the neighborhood, and like I said, the one house was Zillowed at $1,177,000, but hammered or sold at I guess it sold them for $876,000. It doesn't show that it was at an auction or not, but that sold somewhat recently, and so I assumed that was a 26% diminishment of what the Zillow says, and then I applied the Zillow on my property, which was the Zillow on my property is $1,007,000, and I multiplied that by minus 26% and came out with a possible valuation of $749,000. So it's art form. The understanding of the property has to be understood with the premise of knowing it and trying to calculate what it takes to change it to the standard of the land. The land is not improved either at present, but there's always hope. Do you have any questions?
Okay. To the assessor, any questions to the applicant regarding his presentation?
Yes, thank you. Rick Denham, Ventura County Assessor's Office. Does your kitchen counters, are they granite?
Yes, they are.
Do you have any stainless steel appliances in your kitchen?
Yeah, I have a stove that's stainless steel, and I have 2 sinks that are stainless steel, and there's this thing that's above the stove, the vent that's stainless steel.
Okay. Do you have any wood floors anywhere in your house?
Yes, in the living room.
Okay. In your bathrooms, are there any granite countertops?
I think it's marble or something like
I'm
that.
Sorry.
I don't know what it is. It's brown and flecky.
That's the one I'm looking at. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Exterior for your driveway and then really on both terraces, What is that driveway material, that multicolored? Is those bricks? Are they cement? What is that material?
They're bricks.
So is it cemented in, or how's it work?
I don't know. The people who owned the house before me, they did that. I guess on some of the corners, it's or because it's on a slope where they're trying to on the edges around the flower beds, they've got concrete on the curves.
Yeah.
And then most of the rest of it is, I think it's called soft set with sand.
Okay.
So the borders, it borders up to the driveway that there. So that part, I don't know if that's brick or
Yeah,
if
that's the good-looking
concrete.
stuff in the front. Yeah, that's what I was looking at.
Yeah,
so
it's very, very nice. It's perhaps the nicest portion of the property.
I liked it. Okay.
Now, there was 1, 2, 3 portions of it that are soft set bricks, and then there's one that's gravel and one that's dirt.
Mr. Goodson?
Yes,
in
sir.
your little packet here, page 6.
Oh, I'm not paginated. Give me a point of reference on what it looks like.
Well, you've got the page that's got the picture of your patio deck, and then the following page.
Is it?
Yeah, the page after that.
It says page 1 of 3 in the top corner.
Okay, yes, sir.
How close are these properties to your house?
I wouldn't have any comment on that. I zeroed or did a searching for either half acre and above, or 3,000 square feet and above, or something like that, and came up with a listing of those that met that criteria through the search engine. But they're all in Camarillo, because I used 93012 as the zip code.
Underneath sales price on all of these comparables, it shows what the sale date is.
Okay.
All of those sales are in 2015.
Correct.
We're doing evaluation as of January 1st of 2014, and according to Property Tax Rule 324, anything more than 90 days after the date of value is not admissible.
Well, I don't know. Zillow doesn't they don't, at least to my level of skill, they don't permit one to come up with comparables for a certain date line.
Okay. And on the following page?
Which one would that be? This one?
The page right after that, it has 1 of 5 in the upper right corner.
Okay, yes, sir.
92 Norma Court.
Yes, sir.
That one also sold more than 90 days after January 1st.
It says it sold on 8/2014.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
more than 90 days after January 1st.
Okay.
Then the following page, which is 7079 Quito Court. That sold February 2015.
Well, I think we discussed the data that was available.
And then 2 pages beyond that, where you've got another 6 comparables. All of those were in 2015 also. The next page, 5884 Terabella Lane, that sold in March of 2015. And in the last 2 pages of your handout, you've got 6980 Calle Dia. That sold July 9th, 2013. So technically, that is the only comparable that we can use as evidence.
I don't know. Okay.
So do you have any other evidence as far as market value for other properties, any comparables that we can use?
I assume you might have access to to better databases than I would. I'm not familiar with any data. All I know is that the house doesn't fit the accoutrement of the properties that are put on the comp list because there are no comps. Those are all nice houses that have been brought to their fruition, and this one has been awaiting that process.
Do you have any kind of estimates on how much it's going to cost to repair your home, to bring it up to other standards, from contractors or anybody?
Not recently. I mean, when I was planning, I had, as I said, I had a 2,000 square foot addition that made it through plan check that was going to, build a proper master bedroom with a bathroom and a closet to go with it and stuff like that. But that was the next step was going to be to try to find out what it was going to cost. I was guessing it was going to cost $400,000 or $500,000, not counting the pool.
I have no further questions.
All right, thank you. Any questions from the board to the applicant regarding his presentation?
Yes.
How did you arrive at your value again?
I used the appraisal that your office prepared, having fully observed my property. The person came in and as he says, they took pictures and stuff, so they knew what I was coping with as a quality standard, and that was a $650,000 valuation. And then because I did the research, there are these graphs that they publish on the computers that tell you what has happened to house prices, and the graphs are modifiable based on how many bedrooms. So I looked at the one as I commented and found that there was $270 as a price per square foot in 2013, and that there was about $300 as a price per square foot in 2014. And using mathematical computations, I calculated that meant an 11% increase in valuation on a per square foot basis, and I used 11% to augment the $650 valuation from the 2013 stipulated value, which I assume was prepared in a workmanlike manner from your office. And then the other one was I used the presumptive fallacy of certain Zillow valuations. Zillow assumes everything is homogeneous, but everything is not homogeneous. I'm sure you're professionals, you all know that Zillow doesn't mean much. It's nice for your neighbors to know what your property is supposed to be worth, but it doesn't mean much unless you have an offer to sell it. So I took what Zillow said about my property and I calculated it based on some of the erroneous Zillow valuations versus things that had recently sold, and said, hey, there's a big mistake here. And I subtracted 26% in value from what Zillow said my house is worth.
Now, one point of correction, I guess, is that this board is not connected with the assessor's office. We're completely independent. All of us are outside professionals as such.
Thank you. I appreciate that, because I've sort of beat my head against the wall trying to explain to the assessor's office my valuation.
Okay. The appliances and the countertops in your kitchen, were they original, the granite and stainless? Were they when you bought the house, did it have granite counters and stainless appliances?
I was able to, I had already purchased, sort of like getting a baby and looking for your baby carriage. We were quite well off at the time, and so my wife at the time was given the luxury of choosing some things, and we'd gone to this place and put a deposit down on a bunch of stacks of granite. And when when it all hit the fan, it was like, well, do you want to do that? And, because it was already paid for. So there was the stove is the one luxury that I have that didn't come with the new design that was never realized.
So the stove is original, or you purchased since you moved in?
I bought it.
Okay, you bought the stove and the countertops? Okay.
Yeah.
How about in the wood floors? Were those original, or did you do those after the fact?
The wood floors were purchased at this place out in Pacoima or something like
Okay,
that.
so you did them after the fact, okay.
Yeah.
And then you said the pavers for the driveway, those were there when you bought the place, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yeah.
do you know about how much you invested in the property after you bought it?
Well, I spent a lot of money in the wrong place. The architect and stuff was all that wasted.
Oh, yeah, that just went away. Yeah, well,
that was
excluding
that
yeah.
was the humongous portion of it and stuff. But I do distinctly recall that the granite tops were $8,900, and because I was negotiating very assiduously, I think the flooring cost $1.12 a square foot.
That's a really good deal.
Yeah, I worked hard.
I can't find that kind of deal. Okay.
And it was the time.
Yeah.
2007.
Back to your private road. So the road or the driveway from the main street, that's shared by how many owners?
There's the top house, then there's the police officer, and then there's the lady above me, and then there's me, and then the person in front of me, and they're sort of like subordinate because they only pay 4%.
Because they use it the least. Okay. Is there a road maintenance agreement in place?
That's what the neighbor at the top says.
Were you shown anything before you closed the escrow?
No, but
Okay.
when they wanted a new driveway, they came and pointed out that I'm supposed to pay 15%. So
Yeah.
So-
They scale them like that.
yeah. So I paid.
So when you bought the property, did you know there was going to be a driveway expense to come every randomly when the road needs to be repaired?
It's shocking. No, I didn't know any of the. I mean, I knew my house needed to be fixed up. I didn't know all the problems. I mean, I changed the hose that goes from the faucet underneath the sink to the top, and the asshole before had welded copper to stainless. I mean, this son of a bitch, John White, that built the place the first time. I mean, when the wind shakes, one light switch, one wall outlet goes out because, anyways.
Okay, and then so your parcel, it's on a slope. So you have terraced out, but you don't have a huge front yard or backyard like the properties in your neighborhood do, right?
Not like the properties in my neighborhood. Now that's not to say that I have a much larger yard than the properties that the majority of Camarillo has.
Right.
Because they're on a 6,000 square foot lot.
Right. Well, that's on the other side of Lewis. You kind of need to stick on our side of Lewis.
Well, the other side of Upland is what you were.
Upland too, yeah.
Upland
Both,
is
yeah.
the demarcation. The Glory properties are Upland, above Upland, and we got lumped into them when they built this from Terabella. There's about 3 blocks of, call it legacy properties. It's me, Villaloma, which is just 4 houses, and then there's Jeffrey, and then one other street. I can't think of it, but there's like 60 houses there that have been there since the 80s, and then this somebody before I moved in, but not much before, about the late 90s or something, early 2000s, they came in and built all these estate properties sweeping around, and then they changed the school district and they built a new school, called La Mariposa, and I don't have any qualms with that. My children get to go to a very nice school,
Okay.
but by association, those are all estate properties, the gentried classes of persons. And I had hope of attending that standard as well. The manicured lawns and stuff. And
Okay, no further questions.
Okay. So bottom line, what value do you think your property was worth as of 1/1/2014?
Well, I would think 750, has got to be a target range somewhere, within that. I mean, I wouldn't know how to modify it, except that you had a professional assess it. I had a professional assess it with an impartiality for my divorce. And, if you look at what's happened to the market, it's certainly gotten a lot better in terms of selling prices by various metrics. It's gone up, 6%, 9%, per year for a number of years. And then, of course, you had your professional assess the property at 650. And of all the things I do have great confidence in is that, there was a true 11% change in value of your 5-bedroom properties in the vicinity of Camarillo, which are, all pretty blessed homes and pretty blessed ownership status. So I would think it went up 11%.
Okay, so 750 is your value as of 1/14?
I gave you guys two different choices. 750 was the reduction from Zillow, and 721 was the 11% increase from 650. So you have to choose. I mean, obviously, I can walk out of here with a peaceful status at 750 because there's some math that I found that justifies that kind of calculation. Or you could choose 721. You have your own mechanisms for knowing things. I just know that the house isn't worth anywhere near what, the 947 or something like that. That's taking, whatever.
You had mentioned your divorce appraisal. When was that done?
That was the year before the 2013 appraisal.
So that's 2012?
I think it was December of 2012.
And what value was that?
As I said, 600.
Do you have a copy of that or no?
It's in the files that were submitted to the 2013.
But they're not with your exhibit today, right?
No.
So you're mentioning that you're poorer quality than the rest of the comps that the assessor is presenting. And on a scale of 1 to 10, condition-wise, what would you say the condition of your property was as of January of 2014?
Well,
it's like a scale of 1 to 10.
When Mrs. Liberto, I've painted the deck since then because of the sun and stuff like that. And then just recently I had to rebuild the deck because I got married on February, so we were going to get married on the deck, and there were too many termites on this one area. So
just bringing you back, on a scale of 1 to 10, condition-wise, what would you say your property is?
It's certainly in fixer category. I was, when he showed me 7, I was like, well, geez, on a scale of 1 to 10, 7 doesn't sound near as bad as I thought the property is.
That's a different scale. But
Yeah.
I'm just trying to get from you, on a scale of 1 to 10, what's the condition of your property?
I would think it's like a 4.
A 4. Okay.
I mean, it's every place, every corner, everything has a need to get better.
But again, you
care.
didn't present us any pictures showing that your property is a 4, correct?
Well, I brought you pictures here. This is a picture of my stairwell. I mean, this is a stairwell like you're going to a garage or something, but that's the stairwell to the second floor of my house. It's the only one. All of these, estate properties, they don't have a stairwell that's 2.5 feet wide or 3 feet wide, whatever it is.
Sure. Is that carpet or is that tile?
Yeah, it's carpeting.
Okay.
It's carpeting.
So you have one interior picture of your property, correct? And that's of the stairs.
Well, you guys have all of them because your person came the year before and not a thing has changed.
Again, we're not related to the assessor. We're just given
Yeah.
whatever you've given us today is what we can judge our value on.
Yeah. I could provide more pictures, or somebody can come take them. I have a recent wedding photos and stuff like that, but they're
But
not
I mean,
any.
as of what you've
No.
presented us, you
That's
have
true.
one picture of the interior.
One
Okay.
picture of the interior, yes, sir.
Okay, no further questions. So
Excuse me, Mr. Curtis, I'd like to just, as a point of reference
Sure.
for Mr. Goodson, quality classing on construction from the assessor standpoint, it's actually a scale from 1 to 14. And right now, and these were devised years ago and have been modified over the years, currently 5.5 or 6 quality class is the minimum code. Right now, it's illegal to build anything below a 5.5 or 6.
Well, that I think that jives a little bit better because we were thinking on a scale of 1 to 10, and I was thinking 4, and you guys put me on a 7, which is almost in the, which is exactly in the middle of a 1 to 14.
Yeah, so you're just a couple points above to code. So, from that standard.
I live it every day.
All right, so let's see, as far as closing arguments, closing comments, I would believe that the applicant goes first. So,
Before we get into that, the assessor's office has a correction to submit, correct?
oh, on the map.
Yes, we have the corrected aerials here.
Thank you. So let the record show that we're getting the corrected map with the correct locations and the correct numbers from the assessor.
And I think there are no other private streets anywhere on that map, period.
Yeah, the clerk would note for the record that Assessor's Exhibit A, page 4, correction has been submitted, and just because it's technically new evidence, if there's any questions on that or not, before we go into closing statement.
Any questions from the board regarding the updated map? Okay. So,
I just had one more thing I needed to clarify before the board goes, or before closing statements are made. Because the question was brought up, and the clerk has to make sure that property taxpayers understand this when they call us, and so I want to make sure I properly conveyed the same thing to the board regarding percentage of assessment increases. Property tax rule 305 C1G states that the amount of the tax or the amount of assessed value increase shall not constitute facts sufficient to warrant a change in assessed value. So I just want to make sure that we have to tell applicants that the percentage of your assessment increase has no bearing, and so I wanted to make sure that the board had the same facts that we tell the public, that the amount of the increase doesn't matter. The board can't consider that.
thank you. Did the applicant have any questions regarding the clerk's comments?
It's Greekish to me.
Okay.
Thank you, though.
All right, so when you have, so we're going to have closing comments from both sides, and then we'll close the hearing. So whenever you're ready, any closing comments you might have.
I think I've said everything that I had in my thought process. I'm sure in the next few hours I'll come up with 700 things that I didn't comment on, but
okay.
The house just doesn't fit the land, and that was the whole point of trying to buy it as a good value the first time, is to change it so that it fits the land. And I think that it's a sly way to make money, is take a low-grade property in a high-grade neighborhood and improve it. That never occurred.
Okay. To the assessor, closing comments.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. One of the main issues brought up by the applicant was the quality and condition of his home. The quality class done by the assessor's office with both the subject vis-a-vis in comparison to the comps stands on its own merit and was done off a chart and appears to be accurate. Taking comps from the neighborhood, there's a reason we do that continually. All these comps are from his neighborhood. The reason his house is in that neighborhood is because it should be. It's properly classified, it's properly in that neighborhood. On specific issues, when I hear the phrase 1 acre, custom driveway, granite, stainless steel appliances, granite in the bathrooms, it's come to most of us, those are expectations of probably above average in terms of what we expect. That fits in with the neighborhood. In this case, the taxpayer did these improvements, some of them, and some were done for them. I believe that our evaluation as of at least average and that it was comparable to homes in the neighborhood as done last year was also applied this year. To find a house with 3,600 feet on an acre in Camarillo is very difficult for under $1 million. It is very difficult. It was difficult then. It's a little harder this year. And that's the truth. And this is from the Mission Oaks area in general and in the northern part specifically in the custom part. We have a custom sort of track, and then the biggest part of Mission Oaks is Leisure Village, which is, of course, all condominiums. So as the custom area, which this is, which is exactly geographically where this property lies, the comparables from its neighborhood were used. I would expect to see granite and stainless steel appliances in all the comparables, as I did the subject. And adjustments were made in some cases for quality. Some of them are a little better. And in a custom area, that's common. I'm surprised they're actually not wider apart, but they aren't. That's my portion of the conclusion.
Kent Meyer, Ventura County Assessor's Office. Page 2 of the applicant's evidence is the stipulation form from last year. We're not here to defend or rebut the 2013 stipulation. We're here to determine what the January 1st, 2014 value is. The applicant has supplied comparables that all sold after January of 2015, with the exception of one property, which sold in July of 2013, which would be relevant to the 2014 valuation. That particular comparable, the applicant has not made any adjustments for differences in the property. And property tax rule number 4, which is the sales comparison approach, discusses the changes in value or making adjustments to the comparables that you're using. And property tax rule 324 states that the board, the applicant, and appraisal witnesses shall be bound by the same property principles of valuation that are legally applicable to the assessor. So in essence, the applicant has just one comparable property, which would not provide a preponderance of evidence that the assessor's value is incorrect.
All right, thank you. So we'll close this hearing for this case. We'll take the value under submission. Since we do have one more case, we'll hear that case, and then after the second case, we'll have a closed-door hearing and go over all the data, look at all the information, and come up with our value. So our value will be presented to the clerk a little bit later today. You can contact him with regards to what we've come up with.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
A long 15 minutes, huh?
Yeah, it always works out that way. But thank you very much. Okay, our next item on the agenda is item number 45, application 1411046, Paul Andre. Sorry for the delay. Yes, please, if you would feel more comfortable, you can either stand at the podium or sit down. And if you have any exhibits, you can hand those to the clerk also. Okey doke. And to the assessor, when you're ready, maybe you can give us a brief overview of this item.
Hello, Mr. Chairman. This property is located at 4562 Leatherwood Street. We're looking at a reduction in value or decline in value is what the appeal is for. We currently have the property enrolled at $529,862,000. I'm sorry, $529,862 is the factored base year value and the value that we have on the roll. The applicant is requesting a value of $520,000, a $9,862 reduction.
Okay.
Because it is an owner-occupied dwelling, the assessor has the burden of proof.
All right. And just to confirm, it is owner-occupied? Yes. And you are not requesting any findings of fact, correct? All right. Lovely. So that the burden of proof is on the assessor, so he'll give his presentation first. Just like the previous presentation, you'll have time to ask any questions you would like. Then we'll hear your side of the story, we'll ask questions, and then we'll have closing comments from both sides.
Bless you.
Bless you. Bless you.
Thank you.
Dankeschön.
Thank you.
So to the assessor, just proceed at will.
Yes. We have, this is a tract home in Woodside Green in Camarillo, California. We have 6 comparables. They're all from Woodside Greens. Probably the only major distinction is comp number 1 is a model match. Obviously, with the difference in the applicant's price and our price, everything's supported. So I point that out, although with the adjusted values, they did come up slightly higher than the base year value, and that's why we concluded at 530. All of the comparable sales, like I said, are from Woodside Greens. Woodside Green is located south of the 101 at Pleasant, and its eastern border is Pleasant Valley Road. The entire tract backs up to, I think it's Calegas Creek, although it could be Caneo Creek. I guess they merged somewhere there. I think it's Calegas, with sort of Village at the Park beyond to the west.
Real quick question, do we have the same map issue as last item, or the maps?
Apparently not.
Okay. Good.
So, all of the I do want to talk about, we made all of our adjustments are sort of in the normal range. Some of these houses are obviously larger, and some are smaller, so they were adjusted for size. Comparable number 1 had several comments in the MLS, so we adjusted that for $30,000, indicating there were some adjustment problems there, condition problems. The same I spoke with on 137 Cottage Grove. I spoke with Thomas, the listing agent. Apparently that property had been a long time rental. He actually stated, I sort of got up, I'd heard it, but he confirmed. He said the new owner actually put $35,000 into fixing it up. I have an adjustment of 30. I just left it at that, but apparently that's why there were some condition adjustments to those two comps. The rest of the information, we had to rely on the taxpayers, and so they were all classified as average condition. So like I said, all 6 comps are from the subject area. They range from a low of 459 for a much smaller 1,100-foot home that's there. I picked, I hope I picked the 6 newest comps, and I just kind of give you an idea how it was rolling, and feel that our Prop 13 value is certainly within the range and reasonable. Thank you.
Thank you. So to the applicant, do you have any questions regarding the assessor's presentation?
Yes, I have a question about, sorry. I have a question about comp number 6. Why would you include a comparable sale that's nearly double or half the size as the property being appraised when there's ample comps that are closer in size? And typically these smaller homes tend to sell at a higher per square foot sales price within any tract that has larger homes, which in turn I believe would actually inflate the value if you consider that in your appraisal.
I'm sorry, what inflates the value?
When you include a comparable sale that's half the size of the subject that you're trying to appraise, how is that comparing apples to apples?
I guess I would answer.
When you need substantial adjustments just to bring it up to be similar to the subject.
Right. I just took the last 6 comps that sold in the area.
You didn't answer my question.
I hope that answers your question. That's
no, I'm asking you as far as appraisal practice, not just how you just randomly chose your comparables.
So what's your question specifically?
Is it standard appraisal practice when you have comparables that are closer in size to not use comparables that are half the size of what you're trying to appraise?
I have a model match and others in there. I just took the last 6 sales as a general shotgun of because this is an unusual case. So I just shotgunned it so everybody'd have, there's potentially, I think there was probably 14 or 15 sales potentially you could have picked within the time period. So I had to sort of figure out.
The question is, do you typically use comps half the size, yes or no?
Not if you don't have to.
Okay.
Also, when there's considerable sales of the 2,269 square foot model, which is only roughly 200 square feet larger than mine, why would you use comparable number 4 and number 5, which are over 400 square feet larger?
Same answer as I gave before. I don't consider 400 feet in that track, it's fine. There's, like I said, there's probably 15 comps you can use. I'm okay with all 15.
You are aware that the subject property is very close to the 101 freeway and also underneath the flight path of Camarillo Airport as well as Point Mugu Naval Air Station?
Sure.
I noticed you didn't make any adjustments for freeway noise anywhere in this.
The way our office handles Woodside Greens is we make an adjustment on the homes that abut the freeway, and that's it. We also make adjustments on homes that abut Pleasant Valley Road. So those are the 2 primary ways that we adjust Woodside Greens. And so if your house or any other house abuts Pleasant Valley Road or it abuts the freeway, then we do make an adjustment. Most of our, not just in Woodside Greens, almost all of our adjustment system operates based on the house that abuts it. It does not utilize 1 off, 2 off, 3 off type of system.
So basically that methodology indicates that it doesn't matter if you can hear the noise, just whether you're close, immediately adjacent?
Most of the comparables are fairly close to the freeway also. be honest with you, I grew up next to a train track, and I could hear the train when I went out to a neighbor's house that was 8 blocks away. But also, as far as the Camarillo Airport and Naval Base issues are concerned, do those planes somehow fly directly over your house and miss your neighbors?
The Camarillo Airport planes fly directly over my house. I can stand in my driveway, look up, and the private planes come right over my house at about 500 feet.
And they don't go over any other houses in your neighborhood?
The noise, and having worked for 5 years at Los Angeles International Airport and knowing about sound studies, the closer you are to the plane, the louder the decibel noise.
And the rest of the neighborhood is not affected by it?
No, it's affected, but the decibel intensity is a lot higher when you're underneath an aircraft than when you're away from it, hundreds of yards, quarter mile, half a mile away.
Okay, to the applicant, any more questions to the assessor?
No.
Okay, regarding his presentation. To the board, any questions to the assessor?
Yeah, I noticed that on comps 1, 2, and 3, you don't have a photo. Sorry, there's no picture.
Yeah, that is true. The pictures failed for those 3. I apologize. I drove them and took them, and somehow they didn't get back with a camera.
And then comp 5, is that your rear view mirror?
No, that's someone else's.
Someone else's, okay.
Yeah. I recognize my rear view mirror.
Yeah.
I've shot it so often.
So now to comp 6, you said there's 14 or 15 others that were just as good. Would they be better than this one?
Well, these are newer in terms of just as, I'm sorry, I probably should have completed in terms of, they're from the neighborhood.
Okay.
I took the newer ones, period.
You think someone who's looking at a 2,000-foot house who might go up to 2,400 feet, would they consider an 1,100-foot house?
Once again, I'm probably not.
Okay, probably not, okay.
Rick, when you say newer construction or newer as far as...
I'm sorry, newer in data sale. Yeah, these are tract homes.
You had mentioned that the assessor only makes location adjustments with respect to homes that are adjacent to freeway or adjacent
to Pleasant Valley.
To Pleasant Valley. And I understand that that's what you guys do. Do you think that's fair, though?
Yeah. You have to, here's the problem with any noise factor. If you take a foggy night, a foggy day over there, I happen to live in that same area, I can hear the freeway, and I'm 2 miles away. And I can hear it like it's right next to me on a certain collector foggy night. On the other hand, also, it's louder up from a freeway than down. I don't know why. It just is. So I happen to be down from the freeway, so does this whole track. But at a given date, the entire track's going to be affected by freeway noise. But in the modern world, I don't, as I've seen the price of homes, and I don't know why it's this way, but it's the one attached that gets done, even one off, and not just here, everywhere. Just doesn't seem to be as affected by those kinds of things. Backing to the freeway with a wall behind you does affect the prices. There's no question over the years, but across the street doesn't, and I don't know why. I had that same experience myself. I owned a home in Anaheim where I was the house across the street, and I got the same price as the guy 2 blocks further from the freeway, so I don't know.
Okie doke. So you just had mentioned that this track is lower than the freeway?
Right. The freeway has sort of a natural, not high. It's not very much higher,
Relatively level compared to the freeway.
Yeah.
I'm sorry?
They're about the same height as the freeway as far as elevation is concerned.
Well, no, there's, it's a little bit up, because that's the way when they...
After the exit, it starts going up the grade. But
Yeah,
at the exit,
no.
the freeway is the
It's a
same
level freeway, but it's
Right.
slightly higher than the track.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely level there.
Okay. Any other questions?
Yeah, and you mentioned that you only adjust for things that back the freeway or Pleasant Valley. It looks like Comp 2 backs Pleasant Valley and doesn't have a location adjustment.
Typically, we make those location adjustments when the market warrants.
Excuse me. Comp 2 has a traffic adjustment.
Where I don't see it.
It's down at the bottom. It's
Down to the very
$28,000.
bottom. Oh, there we go. How much is it, 28?
Yeah.
Okay.
Looking at about a 5% adjustment for traffic.
And how did you arrive at that adjustment?
We do studies and apply percentages to every area and every kind of...
Do you have that with you?
No. They're sort of internal.
So it's sort of unsupported. Okay.
Well, that's an interesting statement. I will support it this way. I believe an adjustment should be made.
I wouldn't disagree with that, right.
Yeah, it's probably pretty difficult to get a number because you don't have enough sales. And so over the years, they've sort of studied within a percentage, and that's how it's applied.
But 2 and 3 are model matches. So you could have attempted to do some type of paired sales out of that.
Other things being equal, yeah, you might have been able to do it that way. Except that
Comp 2 adjusts out.
Yeah, except Comp 3 has a condition problem, so it's...
Yeah.
When you take a look at Comp 2 and 3 being model matches, and the fact that Comp 3 did have a condition issue, which the Realtor told us that they did about $35,000 worth of repairs on the property after the fact, it still comes out to an approximate same value, which suggests that there really might not be the need for a location adjustment.
Okay, but you typically said you only make adjustments for things that do back freeways and roads. Okay.
We like to recognize those nuisances whenever we can. If there's any market evidence that supports a different adjustment, then we will make it or take it out.
Okay, I have no further questions.
So comp number 1 had sold for $520.
Yes, sir.
The applicant saying his value he feels is $520.
Sure.
Kind of guessing maybe he's basing it on that.
I have no idea.
Short of not seeing his presentation. But given that Comp 1 closed in roughly 30 days after the lien date with the 30-day escrow, that tells you right there, probably right at 1/1/14, someone maybe had signed a contract to purchase this at $520. Since it's a model match, can you explain or talk about your $30,000 condition adjustment?
Yes. Excuse me. Comments by the Realtor at the time that property was sold was, needs some updating. Property is being sold as is.
That's the MLS comments?
Yes, sir.
In total?
You want me to read the whole?
Yes, please.
Okay. Rare 3-bedroom with den, single-story, woodside greens, residence, great RV potential, island kitchen with ample food, prep counter space, formal dining room and living room with light and bright layout. Wood-burning fireplace in its spacious family room. Property is loaded with potential, needs some updating. Property is being sold as is. And let me see if there's further comments. Subject to attorney approval, this is a trustee sale, but not a probate. So usually, probates are kind of crusty, and that description kind of fits it.
Subject to a trustee sale?
No, it's not. It wasn't subject to a trustee sale. It said, maybe it was. Hang on, let me get that.
Subject to attorney approval, this is a trustee sale, not probate.
Not probate.
Not probate.
Trustee sale, but not probate. That's the new hybrid they have now.
Do we happen to show pictures like with granite counters or tile counters or?
Unfortunately, the pictures were limited. So I had to go by the written description. Only exterior that I found.
And do you think Comp 1 has less of a noise adversity than the subject, given your correct map?
Thank you. Other than being on Pleasant Valley or on the freeway itself, I think the properties are similarly yoked or that kind of thing. I have not found any kind of reference other than that, and I haven't seen anything in the marketplace particularly.
So if they were identical properties, you would pick the subject over Comp 1 if you were buying it?
It would be either one. A lot of it gets down to which one has the green kitchen.
No, I mean if they're identical, you would pick the subject. You personally would pick the subject over Comp 1.
I don't see any difference in it. Whichever one you like. One's they're about equal distance from the. I happen to like that park there. They're about equal distance from the park. So, yeah.
Okay. Any further questions? Council? You look like you might have
Just a contribution. The lot size was a little bit different between the subject and Comp 1.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's determinative. I leave that up to the experts.
Sure. It's over 10%. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's a site area. I haven't seen where people like, Comp 2 has or Comp, I didn't make adjustments for lot sizes.
In typical tract neighborhoods, you're buying a site. So the yard sizes are pretty close, plus or minus 400 or 500 feet typically. We don't typically make an adjustment for a lot size unless it's substantially larger.
In this case, it favors the applicant, and I'm okay with that because I'm consistent. I usually don't make adjustments either way. So, following what I normally do, I wouldn't make for Woodside Greens, there might be a lot or two in there I'd adjust for, but generally, it is what it is. There's maybe a couple of cul-de-sac lots that you'd make an adjustment for.
Your after adjusted values range between roughly 535 and 570. I'm sorry, 525 and 575. Correct?
Yeah.
So you're saying the value is 529, and the applicant's saying the value is 520.
Right.
It's only $9,000.
I can't.
How can we split the hair that accurately? I mean,
we can't.
Okay.
Yeah. I have no way. The purpose of assessing really in general is get within 5%.
Right.
And go from there. Once you get below 5%, I'm out. I'm not an expert at value in California when it falls below 5% difference, unless it's a real precise, unique, probably condominium situation.
Sure.
Other than that, I'm personally not comfortable. If I was reviewing this and one guy came in at 529 and one guy came in at 520, I wouldn't tell either one of them they were wrong. So.
Okay.
Right, the gap between there is 1.15%.
Is it that? Yeah, is
Yeah,
it that far?
1.15.
Yeah, pretty
Yes.
wild. Yeah, we got crazy. Okay.
And what we have to look at is what the most probable value would be in the marketplace. And in our determination, the most probable value in the marketplace was above his factored Prop 13 value.
Okie doke. So, to the applicant, your turn for your presentation.
Okay. I just wanted to give you a little background on my own real estate experience. I was a 12-year appraiser at the Los Angeles County Assessor's Office, and then since then I've worked in Los Angeles World Airport's real estate division and now work at the Port of Los Angeles' real estate division. I've been valuing property for almost 20 years. I'll just quickly walk you through my presentation and then go back to highlights. Pages 1 and 2 are my comparables, along with my remarks regarding the valuation. Page 3 is a list of all the sales within Woodside Greens that are within the tax code mandated period. None of these sales go beyond March 31st, 2014. Page 4 is a scatter chart of where all the sales prices are per square foot since May of 2013 until March of 2014. Page 5 and 6 are pictures of my own property as well as the comparable sales that I've utilized and their distances from my house. Page 7 is locations of these comparable sales. Page 8 is the sales price of another model match that was in my area that the assessor hasn't used. This one was significantly remodeled, so I've included the description and all the work that was done to that particular model, so you can see the difference in sales prices compared to what my value opinion is. And then page 9, aircraft typically, the flight paths are always straight line with the bearing direction of the airfield. So as you'll see here, Camarillo Airport's flight path flies literally right over my house. This is a parallel line with the runway at Camarillo Airport. And then the diagonal line is the parallel line for Point Mugu Naval Air Station. With Point Mugu, I have F-16s lighting up their afterburners directly over my house when they come landing in, and those typically happen 3 to 5 at a time, sometimes at late hours. The noise is so loud. When I purchased my house, this was not disclosed to me, whether I was underneath Camarillo Airport's flight path, nor within close proximity of the Naval Air Station. You can't even hear yourself speak when the F-16s fly overhead. My house has the original 1983 windows. They're single pane. They even vibrate when these fighters fly over. As I said before, the private planes literally fly straight overhead. Some of them have hush kits, so they're relatively quiet, but others are pretty loud, especially the propeller aircraft. Not to mention the safety factor that if you're under the flight path of an aircraft, there's always that slim chance that a plane could crash into your property. So going back to my comparable sales, my first sale is the same Apple Tree address. I have to beg to differ the assessor's opinion of the extra square footage. I literally have a 20-foot deep backyard. My house, there's almost no backyard. So every extra square foot typically translates to a larger backyard. My next door neighbor, I have 2-story homes on all 3 sides, behind me, to the left, and to the right. So I have zero privacy, as well as I'm very close to my rear neighbor's property. The property on Fallen Leaf, it's a model match at 2,038 square feet. It sold for $600,000. But it had a substantial amount of work done. It was bought as a foreclosure or at an auction. And if you read the broker's description on page 8, it was a gorgeous remodel of the sprawling Woodside Green pool home. And it included a brand new roof, all new windows, which would substantially affect the noise coming inside. There were French doors added into the family room, the dining room, and also these are new doors put into the master bedroom as well, to the exterior of the house. It has a brand new kitchen. The kitchen was actually completely reconfigured. The island was removed, so there's a lot more. The cooktop was moved into the cabinet area, so now this is an extremely spacious kitchen compared to what I have. Also, my kitchen is the original 1983 white ceramic tile. There's no upgrades besides one of those old style fluorescent panels with the ice crackle plastic. Those were removed and they just put a few can lights inside there. The bathrooms, these have been completely gutted. The master bedroom, there's a big sunken tub with a kind of a weird greenhouse window that actually is adjacent to your shower, and it's all made of this Marmite, or I don't think it's cultured stone, but it's like a plastic, something typical you'd see in the 80s with swirls in it that with age has turned yellowish. This bathroom, they removed the greenhouse window, they put in a large walk-in shower, literally extending the size. I'm not sure why the assessor wouldn't pick this up, because this is additional square footage. New vanities and all the fixtures in both bathrooms. And then the pool was replastered, as well as the interior repainted, exterior repainted, and completely brand new floors throughout, hardwood in the kitchen, kitchen, family room, dining room, and then carpet in the remaining bedrooms. I didn't include those pictures because they're just carpeted rooms. My third comparable is located on Cottage Grove. This is the sale that the assessor mentioned was a previous rental. I can't comment on that. The property, the grass was always mowed, and it was relatively kept up. The paint, it just needed new paint on the exterior, and after this transaction, or right prior to this transaction, the house was painted. Comparable 4 is also just right around the corner. I only chose comparables if they weren't model matches directly adjacent to near my property, so I wouldn't have to make adjustments for traffic noise or the aircraft. This property at 148 Cottage Grove is, both these larger models are the smaller 2-story versions. And as you will see on page 4, when you're looking at the unadjusted sale prices, most of these sales lie within $255 or less. As you can see in the upper left corner, where these 3 sales in the $300 range, these are one of the smaller models, just like the 1100 model, but these are slightly larger, where they sold. Those smaller models, historically, since I've been there, have sold considerably more per square foot. So I think just basically looking at this trend, $255, when you see all these sales that fell below that without adjustments. And my house has nothing special about it except I placed a brick wall in the front myself, built it myself, and I've replaced the front door. So I have no upgrades other than that. I mean, I replaced the appliances when I bought the house because it was bank owned, and the dishwasher and the oven weren't even functional. So I just bought modest appliances to replace it. I think that's all I have to present.
Okay. Anything else?
Just that I don't even think you really need to do all these fancy adjustments, especially when you see some of these comps after the adjustments come up with adjusted values that don't seem to make sense. Really in this tract, as long as the house is average condition, they're all pretty much the same. I mean, the larger ones even have more amenities, and they're selling at the lower per square foot prices. So I think $520 is completely reasonable and not outside of the range. I feel mine should be closer to this one on Apple Tree, because to be perfectly honest, it's not that one was that bad, and needs updating basically means get rid of all this old 80s stuff, because that's what it looks very dated. You walk inside these homes, and if you haven't done anything to them, they scream 80s. They don't look contemporary like most newer homes today. I remember talking lighting over the master bedroom mirror that's the movie star makeup type lights with the multiple bulbs, a wet bar with really bad like laminate surfaces, and then also architectural things, very blocky type architecture inside the house. All that the $600,000 model, that house is basically brand new, turnkey. Everything has been done except for probably replacing the electrical and the plumbing in that house, and it's sold for $600,000. And there must be at least $125,000 to $150,000 worth of work on that property.
Okie doke. Anything else?
No.
Okay. Any questions from the assessor to the applicant regarding his presentation?
We have no questions.
Okay. Any questions from the board to the applicant regarding his presentation?
When did you buy your home?
I bought it in 2009. When I purchased it, we actually made an offer on it at a lower price previously, and then we walked away because the bank did not accept it. And at the time, there was a first-time buyer's credit, and we really didn't want to miss out on that because it was going to mean a significant savings. And so we ended up coming back to this house tried haggling some more. The 503 we paid was the lowest the bank would take at the time. So rather than forego the first-time buyer credit, we purchased it.
You say the bank. Was it a bank-owned or short sale property?
Yeah, it was owned by Deutsche Bank. Also, I mean, there were other things wrong with it. There were tax liens on the property as well that I had to resolve.
And you didn't recognize it was in the flight path?
No, because, I mean, when you go to look at a property, how long are you usually there? Maybe 10, 15 minutes, and then you go on to look at the next model. Every time we went by there, a plane didn't fly over. And we certainly weren't there at night, and that's typically, I mean, the F-16s fly. I mean, I'm sure that affects other homes in the track, but like I explained before, when you're underneath, the noise is more intense. I talk from experience because I've driven on the airfield at LAX, and it is a lot different. And the freeway noise, it is different in the middle of the track. If you have 40 homes between you and the freeway, they're a buffer that reflects the noise, and it's not quite as loud. We also don't have a sound wall on our track. There's a nursery that's between the freeway and the track, and because that nursery's there, Caltrans never built a sound wall like they did across the street at the high school. So I don't know where the assessor lives, but if he's north of that sound wall, then he has some protection from the freeway noise. I hear all the noise of people getting on and off the freeway, decelerating, motorcycles, things like that, very loud.
Kind of surprised about your appeal, like we're saying that the assessor's value and your value is so close together. Do you feel it's worth to appeal $9,000?
Would you just give $100 to the county assessor when there isn't really enough evidence to prove it? And basically, because I've been an assessor myself, I know how it works at the assessor's office. These mass appraisals, they're done very quickly. There's no real examining. Even when I spoke to Mr. Denham, he was like, well, it's not really within the 5% cut, so I really can't give you a reduction. But let me talk to my supervisor, and then I never heard from him again. So it wasn't that he necessarily didn't believe that I was, he said, oh, you're basing it on this one sale. But I said to him, I'm like, all the other sales are selling in the 245 to 250 range. Why is mine different? I haven't done anything to my house. And not to mention, part of my siding on the front of the house has been replaced, so the texture on it is different. So when you see it from the street, it's very noticeable. Like 1/3 of the siding on the front of the garage, if you see it on page, I don't know if you can see it here. No, this is a copy of a color copy, but the right third of the garage has a different, how it was sanded, so it's very noticeable that it's been replaced. I haven't gone around to replacing that, but it degrades from the look of the house. Driveway is cracked all over the place. I think the prior owners had heavy sport utility vehicles. I know from looking at aerials when we were buying, they had a boat on the side. The assessor's comment about some have wider than others, no, they don't. All these parcels are 70 feet to 75 feet wide. They all have a space on the side for RVs. The difference is typically the depth, unless you're on a cul-de-sac. In that case, the parcels are kind of pie-shaped.
Questions? I had a quick question. In your line of work, so you typically use $1 per square foot. Is that important in valuing your values?
$1 per square foot?
You keep mentioning the dollar per square foot of the values of the comparables and subject.
Yes, typically, I mean, when we valued real estate at the assessor's office in LA County, when we were doing the mass appraisal reviews, we were just looking at per square foot prices. We would have maybe 5-6 parameters: quality, class, square footage, bedroom, bath, and the lot size, and we would make quick adjustments and then move on. I didn't feel a need for adjustments because A, most of these sales that are in the below 255, they're in similar condition. Some are even better condition. They have, if they haven't been updated, they have the same old 80s counters, and the only real difference is the bigger ones have a garage, 3-car garage.
Let me just draw you back. My question was with regards to valuation and using $1 per square foot, or the square foot method. Is that important rather than another sales based versus square footage?
Yeah, I think realtors typically use $1 per square foot when they price homes and when they're looking at comparables.
So that's important with respect to your presentation and your value. Okay. And do you typically have interior pictures?
I've provided them the last two. I mean, this is the third time I've been here where the assessor has got my number wrong, and the last 2 times I was given reductions. I just didn't print it because it was getting expensive to print all these color pictures. But my interior has nothing special.
How does your interior, the condition, generally compare to the assessor's comp number 1, which is 369 Apple Tree?
I would imagine it's the same, that it needs updating, because that's what needs updating mean. It doesn't necessarily mean you have a non-functional house. It just means that everything, the amenities are old and they need to be updated because the faucets are dated, the counters are dated, the flooring is dated.
So you disagree with the assessor's $30,000 condition adjustment?
I don't know what it's based on. There's no real evidence except that it was a trustee sale. And just because the property is being sold for a trustee doesn't necessarily mean they don't want top dollar.
But again, we have no interior pictures. Yours might be like Beverly Hills. Crazy.
Does it look like Beverly Hills from the outside?
I don't see any interior pictures, so I wouldn't be able to tell you.
I mean, I have this junky fence that every time the wind blows, it's shaking it like I'm in a haunted house. Like I said, you can't see the siding, but it's there. The driveway's cracked. The whole roof is green. This track is, you look at, I don't know why my house, unless some of these other houses have had their roofs washed, but my house is covered with this green, I don't know what you would call it. It's not mold, but it's like, I don't know.
Slime.
What you see on rocks and stuff like that. Yeah, that grows on stone from being in a moist area. I mean, we do get, ocean, marine layer rolls in at night.
Board Member Sisk, any questions?
None further, no.
Any further questions?
I have.
Okay.
I do have one more. Were you working at the airports at the time that you purchased the house?
Yes, I did.
So you knew what the flight paths were at that time?
I don't make it a hobby of looking at other airports' flight paths.
Okay.
Because I was so far away from Camarillo and from the Point Mugu, I never anticipated that I was directly under the flight path of the airport. And I'd only been at the airport for a year at that time.
And when you purchased, you were aware of the freeway, correct?
Yes, I was aware of the freeway.
Okay. I notice your lines are very precise. Do pilots follow perfect lines when they come in?
For the most part, yes, unless there's weather impacts.
Private pilots?
Private pilots, yes, even more so.
Thank you.
Propeller pilots, no.
All right. Looks like it's time for closing comments. So to the applicant, you'll go first.
I just think I've proposed enough evidence to show that 520 is within the range. And since the sale of the Apple Tree property, which is further away from the freeway noise, selling at 520, I think it's reasonable, considering my property hasn't undergone any updates, to have the same assessment.
Okay.
I also feel that the comparable number 2, selling at 600, knowing all the updates that have been done to it, that no one would buy that property and spend all that money without knowing they're going to get a good portion of that money back. So that the 600, considering that all the work that was done to this. I mean, there's 20 windows on this house. You can't see them from the front, but the whole sides of the house are loaded with windows, and then all the bedrooms on the other side have windows, and then there's another like 15 windows. It's the only reason why I haven't upgraded my windows is because it's going to be a major bill to change all my windows. So the money spent on number 2, taking that adjustment out for all that work would bring it reasonably to 520.
Okey doke. Anything else?
No.
Okay. Thank you very much. And to the assessor, any closing comments?
Closing comments for the assessor's office include the concept of the freeway noise and the airplane noises. The market is going to reflect that in this neighborhood. I think the entire neighborhood is affected by the same things. His unadjusted range of values includes the assessor's range, or assessor's indicated value. The assessor's range of values indicates that the assessor's value is in that range. To overcome the enrolled value, you need a preponderance of evidence that supports a different value. Rule 2 defines a preponderance of evidence as a 5% deviation from the range. The assessor's value is within that range in both cases. Therefore, there is no 5% deviation. We feel there's not enough evidence to support a change in the enrolled value and would request that the board sustains our value.
Thank you. All right, we'll close this case to public hearing. Thank you so much. We will take the case under submission, and you may contact the clerk for our decision. We'll be probably making the decision within the hour, I would assume.
Okay.
And thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So we're at 12:25. I would suggest that we might just go through all of the different items,
Right, since you took
close the hearing, and eat something and then make our decisions. Does that sound good to everyone?
Yeah, since you've taken the matters under submission, you don't have to come back on the record with your decision, so you can close the hearing out and take as much time as you need.
All day today? Week?
All day if you want.
Next week? All right.
It gets a little complicated if you go over a day, but we can work something out if necessary.
That brings us to item number 62, which is the hearing officer's decisions for the meeting, which was held Tuesday, May 5th, 2015. I'll abstain since I was the hearing officer for that day.
And just to clarify, we're looking for a motion to receive and file the hearing officer's decision.
So moved.
I second.
Okay, so that motion to receive and to file the hearing officer's decisions was motioned by Mr. Crow and seconded by Mr. Sisk. That motion passes. That moves us to item number 60.
135.
135.
Big jump there because of all the hearing
Right.
officer cases that you needed to receive and file.
135 stipulations. We have received the stipulations via email, but just whatever I've reviewed and approved them.
Motion to accept the assessor's findings as far as the stipulations.
I second.
Okay. So the motion was to accept the stipulations as so presented to the board. It's a motion by Mr. Crow, seconded by Mr. Sisk, and that motion passes. Public comments? Seeing no one in the public.
I thought we had one other case. What happened to Mr. Saul or something?
Everyone that planned to go forward today has been taken care of. So we had a few people in the audience that stuck around, but everything's been cleared.
Any board comments? Council comments? Nothing? Okay. So we will be adjourned as of roughly 12:30.